Hi everybody, it's Ben again, and today we are going to talk about dagger fighting as it applies to a pure warfare combat situation. Okay, this particular topic came up while I was on a phone conversation with one of our Amp Guard friends from Fanime, and I was cleaning my knives at the same time, because you know that I always clean my weapons every quarter, as you should. And she was saying, oh my God, we just kind of reopened. We have a lot of new members. People got bored during COVID, and now they're wanting to join something. And when they fight with daggers, they always do the reverse grip like they're ninjas or something, and they suck when we do battles. And well, I have a few things to say on this topic. Okay, the first thing I will say though is, because I don't have a cameraman or a camera person, and I am going to be showing you examples of weapons that I'm talking about, and maybe even some moves, please bear with me during the transition times. Okay. The first thing we're going to talk about is that the truth is, a lot of people don't understand, and I hope you understand, there is a difference between a knife and a dagger, and there is a difference between a knife fight and a dagger fight. Okay? First of all, knives tend to be smaller. They tend to be single-edged, and even though there are larger versions of knives, like a kitchen knife or a native hunting knife or a Celtic Viking sax, or even at the very highest extreme, Twilight Knights. These are knives. They are single-edged, they're usually rounded, and everybody had one. It was a tool, it was something that you ate with, and everybody has a knife from medieval times through Renaissance times. Okay? The truth of the matter is, usually when you hear about a dagger fight, it's actually really a knife fight. If you look at crime statistics, even to today, most cutting accidents, most cutting fights, most cutting assaults were done by knives. Why? Because they're cheap, they're easy to get a hold of, okay, and they're everywhere. Every kitchen has one. Most kitchens have more than one, okay? And so that's a knife. No matter how big it is, it's really a knife. You can say that this knife or this knife or this knife is big enough for combat. And of course they are. And they were used for combat. But the truth of the matter is they are single-edged. They are usually curved. And that kind of limits them in use for actual warfare. And we'll get to that in a little bit. A dagger, on the other hand, is usually double-edged, is a very pointed, has no real curves on it. Usually has a guard, okay? And it is meant for actual combat. Be it a duel where you're really trying to kill the other person, or in a melee, okay? And it doesn't matter if it was medieval times and the melee was in armor, or if it was Renaissance times and the melee were people in jerkins and doublets or arming coats, okay? These were meant for combat, real life combat. All right. They were also meant and given to gentlemen, men at arms, squires, knights, lords, whatever, as a status symbol. okay? Because they are meant for pure combat. To be advanced in your station means that you are now trusted with an actual weapon to kill a human being, okay? Now keep in mind, everybody had a knife. And in fact, even if you were a lord or a knight or whatever, you would probably have a knife just for eating or for butchering or for hunting. But you would also carry this as both a weapon that you can use to fight other people with, or B, as a status symbol. The lowest ones were bullock daggers. Bullock daggers were they're kind of prejudiced towards because they were so common. But if you were any type of a well, I will say a well-off citizen, a freeman, you may have a bullock dagger. Rondel daggers were around since medieval times. They were given to men at arms. They were given to archers. They are basically a symbol that says, hey, we, the authorities, trust you with something that can kill a human being. More noble lords and above, squires and above, may have a rapier that match a main gauche that matches their rapier. Back in the medieval times, knights carried these because it was heavy and it was more fancy than a rondel dagger. But the truth of the matter is, the dagger was a status symbol as well as a weapon. Okay, that's kind of a little bit off topic, but I wanted to throw that in there. So today we're going to talk about the fact that number one, if you hear that they had a dagger fight, it was probably a knife fight because not everybody had daggers to go dagger to dagger. But the main thing we want to talk about today is, when you fight with a dagger, do you do it point up or do you do it point down? Okay. The truth of the matter is that our guild never made any differences. Our guild never tell you that you had to do it one way or the other. It was whatever you were comfortable with. Some of you who've done our dagger workshops were like, oh yeah, never a point down for me. Others of you who've done our dagger workshops are like, oh yeah, always a point down for me. Okay. Now, I do want to say though, because now we're going into HEMA, okay, that the treatises and the manuscripts and the fighting manuals, whatever, had it going both ways, okay? I'm not going to cover the point up because usually when we do our workouts and stuff, it is point up. But I am going to cover the point down, and I'm going to point out to you, no pun intended, why this may be a good technique for you, especially because we are HEMA, okay? The truth of the matter is that the point down method has advantages. It has a lot of advantages, and we should be aware of it so that we can decide if this is how we're going to use it. Now, the first thing I'm going to say, though, is this is for an actual armed combat, okay? If you're in a bar fight, you're probably not going to pull one of these. Why? Because 99.9% of the time, you're going to have your hunting knife out already, okay? And you would just get into a fight with a knife. If you were walking home from the bar or from a banquet or traveling to and from, a knife is usually carried in a position that is more handy than a dagger. Okay, a dagger is something you wore on your side, on your back. It denotes status. Okay, so when would you use a dagger? You would use a dagger when you're going into full combat, force on force. Okay, 3 versus 3, 4 versus 4, charge of the light brigade, whatever it is, full armored combat. That's when you would use your dagger, either as an offhand weapon, as a backup, or you know what, when you're so tired and all the weapons are dulled or broken, whatever, this may be the only thing you have left. And that's when you need to consider the 4 points that I'm making. Point number 1. The upside down grip gives you more power. Okay? Let's think about that. If you look at it, has your whole arm weight dropping down. And that drop gives you power. Okay? You can go sideways. You can go into the side. A lot of people don't know it, but you can actually cut up into the armpits or into the kidney. You can stab down to the thigh or the knee. And then if you're unlucky enough to be in this position, you can even stab him in the foot so he can't chase you while you try to run away. Whereas holding it up, you see what I'm saying? Try it. Feel it. The power necessary to stab with more power going up is significantly larger necessary power than if you went down. So that's the first thing, power. Second thing is your opponent's armor. Now, we're playing Renaissance times. Most HEMA groups or HEMA groups are Renaissance times or a little bit even past Renaissance times. But the truth is they still have armor. They're wearing something. It could be chainmail underneath their doublet because they are at war. It could be just the breastplate. It could be an arming jacket. And believe me, quilted layers of material is armor. It could be leather. It could be just fine doublets with a shirt. And this is why doublets have multiple panels. And this is why doublets have multiple layers. Because in all honesty, it acts like a thinner version of an arming jacket. And it is armor. So if you know you have to penetrate armor, wouldn't it make more sense to use a more powerful strike? Okay. The third thing is what I like to call stress, panic, fear. All right? And studies have shown when people get stressed, when people are panicked, when people are scared, they do this. Think about it. They don't fight, unless you're really, really well trained, they don't fight with an actual stance. They sometimes even forget some of the self-defense lessons they've been taught. Okay, they've forgotten the 1 week, YMCA karate course that they've been taught. They do this. Get away, get away, get away. Back off, man, back off. And wouldn't that make sense if you had a dagger? Okay. Keep in mind, I'm not talking about paired daggers like a Dungeon and Dragon rogue, okay? That didn't really happen in real life. I can see a dagger and a knife because you would have that on your body. But I don't see people really having paired daggers historically, okay? So fear, stress, panic, this is how we move, okay? The third point is grappling. The truth is, in real life, if you're fighting for your life, even with swords, even with spears, it's not going to be the nice little pit that we have. Are you ready? Are you ready? A Z, lay on. No, you're going for it. You're trying to get this guy before he gets you. You're going to grapple. You're going to kick. You're going to headbutt him. You're going to punch him. You're going to do whatever you have to do. And in all honesty, this is a punch. This is a grab. This is a hook. So it makes more sense in that combat situation to use it point down. And I will add my personal favorite because it kind of leads on to number 4. This is a block and it blocks your whole arm. Isn't that awesome? Okay. Now the last item is because we are HEMA. Because we don't follow one treatise whatsoever, we do whatever we need to do in order to win. This makes more sense if you're using a martial art with your fighting. Okay? Why? Think about it. Most martial arts, you're here, right? You can punch, you can stab, I can grapple you, I can move you out of the way and stab you, and it's right there. This is a very weird angle. You see what I'm saying? Unless you're going up, this is a weird angle. This gives you more, and you can still go down, okay, but still cover the top of your head. Does that make sense? If you're using a martial art, I got to be honest with you. You guys know this. For me, my personal martial art is a little bit of Kung Fu, a little bit of Aikido, a little bit of counter sambo, all of which requires this hand out and this hand in. So I can be here to do whatever I need to do. And that is a straight punch if I need it to be. See what I'm saying? It's a hook, right? You're punching me, your arm's coming. I'm going to hook your arm, and then I own you because you're trapped right here, okay? So I don't expect the people at AmpGuard to be doing a lot of this stuff. I don't expect that we're going to see a whole bunch of people doing the point down method at HEMA, because this just feels more knightly, more European, okay? But I did want to get these points out there, and I did want to get these differences out there, okay? To review, number one, know the difference. 99.9% of the time when people get into bladed combat in a bar fight, whatever, in a mugging, a robbery, it's knives, not daggers, okay? Daggers were not totally common for everybody. Knives were everywhere, all right? Number two, the fact that you have a dagger is sometimes, usually, a mark of status, that you are in the military, that you are and you have the right to bear arms. Number three, yeah, no paired daggers, okay? That's mostly fantasy. I can see a knife and a dagger, but not very many people had paired daggers walking around, okay? It kind of proves that you're a bad guy if you did, okay? And the fact that, you know what? There are, although most people will hold their daggers point up, there are many advantages for holding it point down, and you should maybe consider it, okay? And these are the extra power you have. Therefore, you can penetrate whatever armor your opponent has. The fact that when you are stressed, this is a natural movement for you. And look where my point is, man. Like, if I'm trying to bat you away from me, this point is coming to your face, okay? The fact that it makes it better for grappling, because even though you may miss the arm or his hand or his leg to grapple him, you're going to cut him or you're going to stab him. And then for us as HEMA practitioners who use whatever method we may need to do in order to win, it is great for use with a martial art. And I actually prefer to put it in my left hand to be used as a martial art, because when I'm moving and I'm blocking, I just might cut you and I just might stab you. And then with my eating knife in my other hand, yeah, I can gut you. And I can stab you in the thigh, and if I need to, I'll drive it through your brain, okay? Some things to consider, a little fun topic, because I know every one of us like knives and sharp pointy things. I just wanted you to consider this so that the next time we do a dagger workshop, you might want to try having it point down a little bit more and see if that's comfortable for you, okay? I hope this was informative. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.